For South Africa today, the health of Ahmed Kathrada, the struggle stalwart, is deteriorating, and the veteran apartheid activist was hospitalised earlier this month. He underwent surgery for a blood clot on the brain.
In a statement, the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation says the 87-year-old's condition has worsened in the last 24 hours. Kathrada has contracted pneumonia, which has affected both lungs. For more on the story, we now cross to our reporter, Griselda Lewis. She's at the Donald Gordon Hospital in Johannesburg, where Kathrada is being treated. A very good evening to you, Griselda. I know that you spoke to the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation a little bit earlier, and also a member of the family. I would imagine that with the number of people coming through, they are holding out hope, but it certainly is difficult given his age and the condition that he's battling.
Well, certainly, Peter, what I can tell you at this point is that there are prayers from across South Africa hoping that the condition of this struggle icon will continue, to get better. But of course, judging by that statement we saw much earlier on and hearing from the family as well as the foundation, of course, his condition has deteriorated. We've seen quite a number of high-profile dignitaries who have come here to the hospital as well to come and see the struggle icon. We know as well that the chairperson of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, the board of trustees as well, their Minister Derek Hanekom was also here just a few minutes ago. We also saw the Premier of Gauteng, David Makura, who also sits on the board of trustees of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. We also saw MEC Ishmael Vardy, who also sits on that board as well, all coming here to come and wish Ahmed Kathrada well. The family certainly at this time praying for a miracle. That's exactly how they're describing it at this point. We're expecting many others, of course, to come here and wish the family the best during this very difficult time. We're talking about a man who was described by one of the other members of the board of trustees at the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Max Sisulu, who I'm going to speak to in the next few minutes, saying that he was an internationalist. This is a man that really struggled and fought for South Africa to attain the democracy that we now all enjoy in this country. Let me just chat to one of the family members as well. Let me bring in Zora Kathrada Harrington, who is the niece of this struggle icon. I can see very difficult for you at this time. Zora, thank you very much for speaking to us. I guess you as a family are continuing to cling on to hope.
Thank you, Griselda. Yes, the condition moved to critical, and where there is life, there's hope. And we continue to pray, and we hang on to the prayers, and we thank the public for their prayers and for their support. Thank you, Griselda. I'm very emotional, and thank you.
How would you, I think just before we wrap it up, Zora, I can see that you're not doing too well at this point. What are some of the fondest memories of Uncle Kathy? South Africans have seen a man who was always in the forefront of ensuring that South Africans to this day live in a just society. But of course, for you as a family, there is much more to that. He's an uncle, he's a dad, he's a granddad, and much more than that.
Griselda, I was just speaking to one of the other board members, Eunice Chamda, and I was saying that when you have an icon in your family, he's just an uncle. You put the icon to the world, he's an icon, and to the family, he's an icon. But the blood kicks in, the passion kicks in, and that is why we are so emotional as a family tonight. He's an international figure, and as you can see, there's all big giants visiting him this evening. And to us, he still remains an uncle. And it's very difficult for the family at this time to speak about him, but the fondest memory I have of him is we were at a function the one evening. Lots of giants were in the room, and the lady comes up to him and she says, "Mr. Kathrada, I am so humbled to be with all the giants this evening." And he turns and he says, "You are the giant, not we." So it's his humility, his passion for children, his passion for the good of all people, and his love for the people of all race, across the race. And we treasure so many good memories of him, Griselda. And at this point, I can't even share too many because I'm too emotional. I'm so sorry, Griselda.
No, that's fine.
I'm so sorry.
I can certainly tell you that all South Africans and many around the world are praying for a miracle this evening.
Thank you, Griselda, and thank you to each and every one for their prayers and for keeping us in their hearts. Thank you, Griselda.
All right, thank you very much, Zora. I think we're going to let you go. Thank you so much. Ntate Sisulu will join you as well this evening. You sit on, as well, the board of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. And, you know, we were listening to you just a few minutes ago describe the kind of man that so many are coming to see today, hoping for a miracle. First of all, we're talking about a giant, somebody who fought for the attainment of democracy in South Africa. Your fondest memories of Ntate Kathrada?
My fondest memory of Kathrada actually is his life, the entire life. He was very close to my father.
Yes.
And looked after my father in prison and out of prison, and was also close to my mom. In fact, he was regarded by my mom as an important member of our family. Sometimes he was jokingly called the firstborn of the family because he was close to Tata and my mom. And one thing about Kathrada that we all revere was that his simplicity, his humility, and hard work. He was committed to the struggle for freedom and justice. And also he was committed to, training young people to be freedom fighters. And his house, Colbert House, the old house, Dumanokwe and many others used to visit the place. And I know when I was a youngster in short pants, I also used to take, people to the house, his flat. And so we remember him fondly because not only was he a fighter for freedom, but he was a teacher. He was the best person I know who could tell you what the struggle is about. Kathrada it didn't mind giving you the last penny he had, the last cent he had. He was able to share the little he had. And he was very, very, very a source of inspiration to all of us. A source of inspiration. And we would want to remember him for what he was. I saw him just now, and of course he's still a fighter, even at this moment. He can't breathe properly, but he's holding on. He's a fighter. He's a fighter till the bitter end. And that thing about Kathrada is a source of inspiration. Was, is, and will continue to be a source of inspiration for all of us.
A fighter till the end, and you said also training young people to become freedom fighters. In the 50s, we really saw him come through with the Indian Congress, for example, together with, the Defiance campaign formed against the unjust laws, together with the African National Congress. And at a time when the Indian communities were moved out and set up in Lenasia, those are just some of the examples, I guess, that we can give of this great man who always strived to ensure that whatever was unjust about South Africa at the time would be corrected not just by him, but many others who were at the forefront of the fight for freedom in this country.
Kathrada was a true son of Africa. He was a real African. He didn't see himself as an Indian or anything. He saw himself as a South African first and foremost. And he fought for the freedom of all South Africans, not just for a particular race group. And he was a source of inspiration for all of us, different generations, young people. He went out of his way to train us, young people at the time, that what you need to do is fight for your future. Yes. And the way to fight for your future is join the liberation movement. It's after people like Kathrada, spoke to us. I joined MK when I was 16 years old. And I stayed with MK. I still am a member of MK. Thanks to people like Kathrada, who were a source of inspiration and a very close friend of my mother and my dad and a family friend.
Dr. Sisulu, I'm afraid that's all we have time for this evening. We're certainly in prayers with you, as well as the many family members who have gathered here this evening, hoping for a miracle that perhaps the state of Dr. Kathrada would improve. Thank you very much for your time. Max Sisulu there, who also sits on the board of trustees at the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, saying there, truly, an icon here today, the caliber of person who everyone is coming to see and wish well here at the Donald Gordon Medical Center, was an internationalist, somebody who has really played a critical role, and also for him, when he was very young, inspiring many others to go to the forefront and also join the liberation struggle in this country. Very inspired, of course, you'd recall, with Max Sisulu's father as well at Wits University. They were very close at the time as well, in the forefront during the very difficult times in South Africa, when they too had rallied many, both young and old at the time, to ensure that much was given to the fight for the attainment of democracy in South Africa. But we're expecting many other high-profile dignitaries to come here this evening. But I think in the majority, what we've seen this afternoon into this evening is many of the family members that we have just spoken to here as well, and those who sit on the board of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. But we'll bring you a lot more throughout the course of the evening here outside the Donald Gordon Medical Center, where we understand now the condition of the struggle icon has deteriorated. Peter?
Griselda, thank you very much indeed. That's Griselda Yoos following that all-important story there. So if it's starting to sound a little bit like eulogies are being shared, and it's only really because of the concern and the critical condition that Ahmed Kathrada is in at the moment, but we'll keep you posted on that. But coming up after the break, there's a new trade union federation in town, the South African Federation of Trade Unions, and the question is this the game changer? Is this going to change the labour landscape? In fact, could it change the political landscape? I wonder if we're not looking at the next president of South Africa after this.